In the dimly lit backstage of the Grand Theater hosting the annual Tony Awards, an eerie hush hung heavy in the air. The anticipation and excitement that usually filled the corridors were replaced by an unsettling sense of dread. The performers and crew members whispered in hushed tones, their faces pale as they prepared for the most prestigious night in the theater world. Little did they know that this year's Tony Awards would be a night they'd never forget, a night that would be etched in their nightmares forever. As the show's host, a charismatic and renowned actor named William Holloway practiced his opening monologue one final time. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. The words he spoke were humorous and light-hearted, but his heart raced and his palms were clammy. He chalked it up to nerves, attributing his unease to the enormity of the event. Meanwhile, in the depths of the theater's basement, hidden behind layers of dusty drapes and forgotten props, a sinister figure lurked. Benjamin Barker, known to the world as the infamous Sweeny Todd, had escaped the confines of Fleet Street, his old haunt in London. His lust for vengeance against those who had wronged him had brought him to New York City, and fate had led him to the very heart of Broadway. Sweeny Todd had reinvented himself as a makeup artist, gaining access to the most celebrated actors and actresses of the theater world. His skills with a razor were unparalleled, but he had traded flesh for makeup and blood for cosmetics. He had bided his time, waiting for the perfect moment to exact his revenge on those who had ruined his life. As the evening's performances began, the audience was enchanted by the spectacular displays of talent and artistry. The theater was filled with laughter, tears, and thunderous applause. Backstage, the atmosphere remained tense. The performers were on edge, their superstitions and pre-show rituals magnified by the eerie ambience that enveloped the backstage area. In the midst of the chaos, Sweeny Todd worked meticulously, applying makeup with surgical precision. His demeanor was calm, his movements deliberate, as if he were a master craftsman honing his skills. He watched the actors and actresses transform into their characters, their faces becoming canvases for his art. One by one, the performers left his chair, satisfied with their appearance, unaware that Sweeny Todd's sinister agenda extended far beyond makeup. He had chosen his victims carefully, selecting those who had been involved in the conspiracy that had stolen his family, his freedom, and his sanity. As the night wore on, the tension among the performers grew. Whispers of strange occurrences backstage spread like wildfire. Mirrors shattered inexplicably, costumes vanished without a trace, and eerie shadows danced in the corners of dressing rooms. Some attributed these incidents to the theater's age, while others suspected a malevolent presence. William Holloway, the host of the evening, had noticed his unease escalating. He couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched, that something sinister was lurking just out of sight. During his monologue, he stumbled over his lines and beads of sweat formed on his forehead. The audience laughed, assuming it was part of the act, but Holloway knew something was terribly wrong. Backstage, the first victim fell into Sweeny Todd's trap. An actress named Eleanor Sterling, who had played a pivotal role in his downfall, had taken her seat in his makeup chair. As he applied her makeup, he whispered his vengeful intentions into her ear, his voice like a chilling whisper from the grave. She felt a cold shiver run down her spine, but she dismissed it as nerves. As Holloway continued to host the awards show, a palpable sense of dread settled over the theater. The performances on stage were flawless, but the aura of fear grew stronger with each passing moment. The audience became increasingly restless, and some claimed to have seen strange, shadowy figures lurking in the balconies. Backstage, Sweeny Todd's plan was set into motion. With a quick and deadly stroke, he slit Eleanor Sterling's throat, silencing her forever. Her lifeless body slumped in the makeup chair, a grotesque masterpiece of death. Sweeny Todd meticulously cleaned his tools, erasing any trace of his gruesome act, and slipped away into the shadows. The atmosphere in the theater had shifted from excitement to panic. Actors and crew members searched frantically for Eleanor, but she had vanished without a trace. The show had to go on, and the audience remained unaware of the horror that had unfolded backstage.